Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and a new edition of our online interview series. Today, we want to talk to Vizsla Silver Corporation, and Michael Konnert, the CEO, is here with us. Hey, good to see you. Good morning to Canada.
Good morning, Jochen. Good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend. Super. Yeah, well, Vizsla Silver, I'm a shareholder of your company, and actually happy shareholder, I should say, because you guys did so many good things. And I want to start first, really, that there's so much money now in the bank because you did $100 million on a board deal, and the over allotment was exercised. So 115 million gross proceeds for you. What you got to do with the money?
Well, we're going to build the world's best silver mine.
Of course.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah. No,
Absolutely. So,
it's been great. Now we have a balance of over $215 million, and we're in excellent shape financially, and it's going to help us unlock a huge amount of value for shareholders.
does it mean maybe it's a little bit too early because a feasibility study will come out, I think, by the end of the year, right? Or probably Q3, Q4, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's between, to be a little bit cheeky, it's between now and Christmas. But
Uh-huh.
we're working very hard at it, and we don't know exactly when it'll come out, but we're working to get it out as soon as possible.
Okay, super. So does that money bring you through there until to the project finance, or is it already that much money that you say, we only need a little portion and then we can build a mine?
Well, we've been working on the project finance now for about 18 months. We're getting very close to a conclusion there where we're going to take a path and move forward with that. One of the biggest risks to mining companies that are pre-revenue, is running out of money, and especially ones that are going through the construction phase. So this really de-risks this for shareholders. It de-risks the
Mhm.
next phase for us, and certainly funds us, into construction, and with project finance will be fully funded. So in fact, this is very likely the last equity raise the company will have to do before cash flow.
Wow, that's hefty. So the rest you can do by debt, no problem.
Exactly.
Fantastic, super. So what I wanted to ask you actually with that is you started test mining already, I think with a 10,000 ton sample at Copala. So how is that going? And does that already help to develop then the new mine?
Absolutely. So the test mine really is the permanent entrance to Copala. We're creating that now, which is an excellent advantage. It allows us to get underground prior to the start of the construction of the mill, and prior to anything kind of really being too much of a time crunch. So this allows us to test our team out. It allows us to test the contractors out.
Mhm.
It allows us to get access to the vein, reconcile the vein to the drilling. Do further rounds of metallurgy if we feel that's necessary. But it basically decouples the risk of the startup of the project, the startup from of the mine from the startup of the mill. And invariably in mining, something goes wrong at each startup. You don't want to compound that at the exact same time. So by getting underground early, it really allows us to get a jump on the project, and it's something that we're doing. We were fully funded before this financing to do it. It only really cost us about $10 million US. So it's a great thing to do, and it also allows us then, when the permits are granted for the full operational mine, to extract material or from underground, bring that above surface, and have that ready beside the mill, ready to run through the mill, and allows us to control the grade even better and push a lot more of that high grade in early years, pay back the project much quicker, and create a higher return for shareholders.
Absolutely. So with your tests so far, are you happy what you see? Is it what the PEA showed you? Is it maybe even better? Are you satisfied with that?
Well, I was just there a few weeks ago and underground, and we were just blown away. I was personally blown away, but just how well the team is doing, how the underground mine looks. It's clean. It's the rock competency is excellent. So we're not necessarily surprised about that. What I think will be really exciting is once we get to the actual Copala zone, which is towards the end of the year. We'll likely get much closer to that, and enter Copala towards the end of the year. And we're very excited about that. It's as it appeared in the PEA, but of course we did about 3 times the typical amount of work that goes into a normal PEA. We did with our PEA, so we're not as surprised by anything that we see there.
Super. So it was like a PEA, but closer to a PFS.
Very true. Yeah.
Super. Yeah, I mean, that speeds up a lot. So that means also your PEA numbers are, if I can say it like that, are a little bit more reliable than a normal PEA. So you are maybe much closer to today's numbers, which you will bring out then. But still, they are so fabulous. I mean, when I really look at it, this is crazy. At $31 silver and $2,370 gold. I mean, you have an NPV of 1.5 billion and an IRR of 107%. And those numbers are already now again history because gold is $1,000 higher and silver is approaching 40 very soon, probably here. So, with what numbers are you now calculating in the feasibility?
Well, I think what we'll do to make sure that we are able to show an apples to apples comparison, we'll
Mhm.
show the numbers, the results basically in line with the numbers that we use in the PEA, just so we can show that reference point, because we do think it'll stay largely the same or potentially have a positive variance over the PEA numbers. But the long-term consensus pricing is which is what we used in the last study. Have been increasing. I think just this morning I saw that I believe it's about $31 silver and about 23.75 gold for long-term consensus pricing. So that would be, typically what we would use there in the feasibility study. So, the feasibility study will still be very, very much
Exceptional, I would say.
exceptional, but it'll be very much shy of
Yeah.
today's prices. So at today's prices, we're talking about an MPV that's much closer to $2 billion, and certainly triple digit IRR payback that's measured in probably less than half a year at today's metal prices, which is just spectacular when you think about that. It's probably the best economics the silver space has seen in 3-4 decades.
Mhm. Absolutely. No, that is really fantastic. Also, your AIC, $9.40. Maybe they go to 10 or 10.50, whatever, in 2027 when you want to be in production. But still, this is an outstanding margin, right?
Well, that's true, and that's for the life of mine. For the first 2 years of production, which may get extended further into the feasibility study, but for the first 2 years of production in the PEA, the ASIC is actually $7.40. So that's about a $30 margin
Yeah,
for every
crazy.
ounce. And if
Yeah.
we're producing 20 million ounces of silver equivalent at a $30 margin, that's incredible math there. That cash flow is almost overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. As you just said it, you have over $215 million probably in the bank by now, and your initial capex here is shown with 224 million. Maybe when we start to build it, let's call it 250, 275. Maybe if it goes to 300, who cares? Yeah. I mean, that is not a problem for such a fantastic mine. So that means you can do that all by debt, as you said already. But would you also consider to sell maybe a little bit of a gold stream or something like that?
I could say that, we've reviewed a lot of different options with project finance, and,
Mhm.
we haven't made that final decision yet. But one of of course, we're looking at debt and we're looking at different alternative options as well, just to make sure we're finding the absolute lowest cost of capital and the best path forward for shareholders. But, one of the other aspects that helps us pay down this capex, and just as an aside, the capex, we don't expect it to inflate to those numbers. We think that the numbers that we used in the PEA were actually very conservative. We put a lot of contingency into that, and we used real mechanical budget quotes. For about 60% of the quotes that we got were from actual suppliers, and the rest were from databases of projects that have actually been built in Mexico recently. So we're quite confident in those numbers, but we also have a lever to pull in that we have Vizsla royalty, and Vizsla Silver owns 17% of Vizsla royalty. Today, those shares are worth about $30 million Canadian. It's always been the goal to sell Vizsla royalty to help pay down the capex, and I
Mhm.
think actually I saw an analyst report today that said the upside case for the shares there are $6.50. Today we're trading at about $2.50 at VROY. So, you know, I, with that, I would see a large amount of cash coming in to help us pay down that capex even more. And again, the enemy of a free cash flowing mining company is not having enough cash. So this is a really good thing to have, and really strong way to raise capital through this kind of creative way of spinning out Vizsla royalties. So we're going to be in
Super.
very good shape, I think, financially for the build here.
Yeah, honestly, I think you guys have done everything right so far in the last years, and you always looked for enough money in the bank, so you were never pressurized, and this is the right way to build a mine, definitely. Short question about your dual track strategic plan, because you are on the one hand developing Panuco into production, on the other hand, you are exploring this fantastic silver belt, and I saw you bought the large Santa Fe claim package also in addition. Yeah. And I think you had also some really fabulous exploration, high grade discoveries in the northeast of Panuco. So, how fits that all together? Because you have an initial mine life of 10.6 years. To me, it looks like you probably produced there when I'm already dead.
I would say, and myself too. So you do know that this is I think just to think about this whole area and really understand it, it's worth talking about San Dimas, which is the mine that's about 80 kilometers to the north of us. It's very similar in terms of geology. It's pretty much a carbon copy of what we have at the original Panuco project, which is about 7,000 hectares. When we consolidated it, originally it was about 7,000 hectares. Today we have 40,000 hectares that
Yeah.
sit basically on a trend in between San Dimas and Panuco, and then down to Santa Fe in the south. We think it's the best silver trend, silver district, silver area to be exploring in the world. Of course, we've found 360 million ounces of very high grade silver there. San Dimas has produced well over a billion ounces of silver equivalent there at high grades. I think that each of our other projects, La Garra, that sits in between San Dimas and Panuco, and then San Enrique to the south of Panuco, and then Santa Fe to the south of San Enrique, all have the potential to be very large, multi-hundred million ounce, potentially billion ounce districts. Certainly, we think Panuco will be a billion ounce district, but we think these other projects that we have could also show that type of potential. I like to say that it's almost like getting in a time machine and going back to some of these great districts in Mexico, like Fresnillo and the Zacatecas area, and being able to have your pick of these projects, because we're somewhat of a first mover in this area, and we proved the potential there with Panuco. So we will be exploring Santa Fe. Santa Fe is really our growth potential after project number one is built. Santa Fe has a permitted operating mill there. It's been explored very minimally over the years. We think that there's the potential to find other big veins there at Santa Fe, and then expand the mill that's permitted, that's operating there, to be our second center of mass after project number one is built. So I think that for producing 20 million ounces from Panuco, I think it's possible that we could see another 5 to 10 million ounces out of Santa Fe in short order after we're in production at Panuco.
Wow, fantastic. That sounds like that you will be right up within the first 2 years from the start, you will be a real big senior silver producer.
That's the goal. We have a big vision of 50 million ounces of silver equivalent production by 2035.
Cool. Okay, super. That's a plan. So the most important question, last question also, how is it going with the permitting? We know Mexico can be a little bit so and so after the last press releases we saw from Mrs. Scheinbaum and from the government. So what is your status?
Well, that release, or the comment that she made, nothing had changed over the last 7 years or so. That
Mhm.
we, since we've been in Mexico, so since 2019, we've never been able to stake a concession. And all she said was that you're not able to stake new concessions. So
Okay.
really, there was a lot of panic around that, I think, and really for no good reason. What we have seen is actually private companies recently in Sinaloa received their full MIA. I was informed of a company that applied for something very similar to what we have. And the MIA is the environmental impact permit, and so we do know that permits are being granted. Uh, Certainly for underground mines, there's the expectation that permits will be granted. And Vizsla Silver's project, Panuco, has always been an underground mine. It's never been an open pit that we've re-envisioned as an underground mine. This has always been an underground mining district. So we feel very confident about getting our permits. We've submitted the application earlier this year. We don't need to get our permit really till middle point of next year, so 12 months from now. But we're very far along that path already. So we expect to get it in a reasonable time frame. Of course, we're able to do the underground mining that we're doing right now under our existing permit, which is excellent. But as soon as we do get that permit, we're ready to break ground and go very hard. We want to get into production as quick as possible.
Super. I love to hear that because with that silver price, probably when you are in production, silver price is probably 60 or $70 already. Might be, we will see. But the market is there, and I think things look really good. Michael, thank you very much for the update. Fantastic. That looks all great. Well done. Thank you very much. Also from me as a shareholder. And I would say keep it going and bring the baby in production.
Thank you. Well, it's our goal. It's a singular focus here. We're very excited. Team.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Michael Konnert, the CEO of Vizsla Silver, and you heard it. Things are going well. The company is fully cashed up, fully loaded, $215 million in the bank, and the rest will be financed, whatever, through a little bit of debt, sale of Vizsla royalty shares, etc. I could imagine that the creditors will queue up already to give that fantastic company money to build that mine, and there will be from the start back really a senior silver producer, and then they will grow by 2035 to 50 million ounces silver equivalent. That would be a real big beast, I would call it, and you really should join the journey here. Check out Vizsla Silver. Thanks for watching us, and bye bye from Austria today.